Frankie, thanks for coming on Serves You Right.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So I thought it'd be fun to start off by kind of like the most typical and boring question of all time. You're at a cocktail party and someone says, "Hey, what do you do?" How do you answer that question?
I answer it truthfully. I say that I'm a bartender. I've been bartending for 15 plus years. I usually will say where I work and all that stuff. I mention the social media stuff if the conversation kind of goes that way.
Mm,
And that's kind of because people will find the social media stuff more interesting than just the actual bartender part of it. So
yeah, for sure. In fact, that's how I found you too. So
yeah,
what?
which is great. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome though.
I mean, that's why we do these things, right? To meet people, put some of our work out there and see what happens. So what made you start doing everything online?
For a long time, I've been searching for having a creative outlet of some sort. So, I've adminned like Facebook pages for a little while. I don't do it anymore, but I never really found that creative outlet or niche that really kind of like satisfied me. And so, I always want to do something with like, YouTube or like, making videos on, YouTube and stuff like that. But I could never find out exactly what I should do. So I was like, okay, so I love video games. I love movies. So am I going to review movies and video games? And the struggle I kept coming up with was that if I'm going to review like movies, what can I say that's going to be number one, something people would want to watch, but also what could I say that hasn't been said by a million other YouTubers out there? Like, if I was going to review like, Star Wars and I start talking about the Phantom Menace and I mention, oh, Jake Lloyd's acting's not great. Jar Jar's annoying. What are midichlorians? Like everybody's talked about stuff like that. So I would be contributing nothing new. So I was like, I don't want to do that. And then, one day I was at work and I was bartending and it was during like kind of like that kind of end of COVID time. So there was still a lot of restrictions about, how many people can sit in a restaurant or sit at the bar and all these rules were in place.
Pulling down our masks to take a sip and putting them back on.
Yeah. Or like, you'd have a high top table next to the bar and the people could face each other, but not face you because apparently COVID doesn't spread that way. I don't know. But, and so I was just playing around with some new drink ideas I had. And that's where the first few video game inspired cocktails came from. And that's kind of where it all started. And that was back in, that was in 2021 that I kind of started that. And then I just thought, well, it'd be kind of like a shorter video. So TikTok was there and I started doing it on TikTok. So that's where I began.
That makes sense. Yeah, and I definitely get that. There's one of the struggles I had at the beginning, like, what can I do that would be unique, true to me, and someone hasn't done 1,000 times over? Because everyone under the sun has done a different interview style show and everyone has done XYZ. And I'm like, what are the things that are unique to me? And like, I came from a bartending background too, but I blended a lot of wine into it. And so I started off talking to people that were in that space, the wine space, but also like the people that you'd want to hear from as a bartender if you're working in a higher end spot. And it's like, okay, this I've never seen. This is something I could do where like, I don't know, kind of flashed for me. Are you still there?
I'm still here, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's, it's just an interesting thing because you put yourself out there and you like, was the TikTok successful from the beginning or did it take a little time to grow?
I got success pretty quick. I think I hit 10,000 followers in a little less than a month.
Cool.
Yeah, and I was just trying to follow everybody. We had all these like kind of like, follow train things. So I got followers, but not a lot of engagement. So, people were following me to follow me, but they weren't really following because they really liked what I was doing. It was just because I followed them or, it was on some other things. So TikTok's been a platform I've kind of struggled with, like still to this day. I've had way more success on Instagram. So like my first like big video I got on TikTok, I think got like 180,000 views. That was probably like 8 or 9 months in because at the time I wasn't sure kind of how to direct what I want to do. Is it going to be a gaming page with a bartending background or a bartending page with a gaming background? So I would do the video game inspired drinks. And I would also do, again, for shorter videos, was I love retro video games, so like older stuff, like, old school Nintendo, Sega Genesis, stuff like that. So I would basically do a video of like an old like video game retro game glitch or a secret password and like put that out there, and that was getting more attention. And then I'm like, this is not the direction I want to go in. It's taking the focus off this. I want it to be a bartending and cocktail creation page first with a nerdy twist. So that eventually had to go. And then fortunately, I found my audience though. So I had my first video that got 1 million views, probably like maybe a year and a half, 2 years in.
Hmm.
And that was really cool. And, since then it's kind of blown up more. I mean, my most popular video on TikTok right now has about 8.3 million views. And my most popular video on Instagram is at almost 17 million.
That's crazy. Yeah. I,
Yeah, it's
I
awesome.
saw the 8.2 million one. That's the one where you're kind of breaking down the 4 different twists on a Long Island iced tea, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was
So
it.
that is
And the
definitely.
one on
Oh, sorry.
I did another one. I did the video on TikTok and Instagram, and it found more success on Instagram where I did, instead of 4, I did 8.
Hmm.
So it was a Long Island iced tea, Long Beach iced tea, Tokyo tea, the Adios. I don't know if I can swear or not.
No, you can. Yeah, yeah. AMF for Adios Motherfucker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. What else is in there? It was the Grateful Dead was in there, Irish Trash Can, Boston Iced Tea, and I'm missing LA Water. So it was those 8 drinks. And I basically just lined them up on my bar and just made them all one by one. And that one got a lot of success. So it's funny because like it's not the videos that I put the most time into where it's like I'm really proud of this cocktail and it's this delicious thing and here's how you make it. It's just the drinks that just get you really, really hammered. So
Well, yeah, I mean, there. One of the things that I noticed in myself was I felt a way about seeing how much booze was actually in those drinks. Like watching it and realizing like how much booze you'd consume if you drank all 4, for instance, on the TikTok.
oh yeah,
I'm like,
oh yeah.
oh god, like maybe I'm getting old. 2 beers sounds like a lot, but it's yeah. No, do you ever get a weird feeling when you have a video take off like that? Like I'm asking for myself because I've got a couple that have gotten really really high numbers, and I always get this kind of like icky feeling. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like this sensation of like I know there are like hundreds of eyes watching me.
Mhm.
Like, do you ever get anything similar? Or?
Not like that. It's a lot of weird feelings. It's one of like, this is not my best work. Why is this the one taken off and not this other one that I put a lot of time into? Because I post the recipes for a reason. I want people to make the drinks at home, but I also have to tweak it before I start shooting them to where it's like really good for my own personal taste. And people can always modify it, but like if it's a cocktail where I really like just focused on really getting it down perfectly, this is so fucking good, you got to try this. But no, it's the Long Island drinks that took off. So
Yeah.
it's not my best representation. So I'll have friends that are kind of like, wine snobs or like cocktail snobs. Like my former bar manager, who's been a huge mentor to me. Her name's Tara. She'll always make fun of me for the Long Island drinks and just like, and I'm like, she's like, it's just not my thing. But like, I know you're better than that. I've worked with you. Like, I know how good you are. But like, it's just, you got to make the money. You got to get your name out there. And so if that works for you, good. But then the craft cocktail stuff will just is where my pride and joy is, where I really want to just make it so it's a nerdy twist on a really cool cocktail. So I wish those would take off better, and maybe there's a way I can kind of do things differently to make it take off more. But people like to get drunk, so what are you
Yeah.
gonna
I mean, you're kind of in one hand you're giving the people
do?
what they want. On the other hand, you don't want to be the Long Island guy. Like,
Yeah.
definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you
And
walk us?
I've gone back to the well a couple times. And I've been like, okay, let's try 7 different versions this time. Let's try 6 different versions. See how it takes off. So, because again, if it's been successful before, you try to repeat it. But after a while, I'll try different variations of that idea and be like, okay, it's time for something new. This is not working. It's not getting the views I had before. So let's try a different direction. You just throw stuff against the wall and just see what sticks. So I tell people just like keep creating. Just like you never know.
Yeah. What is your drink making process? Like, if I came and asked you to teach me how to make some of the drinks that you make, do you just kind of throw stuff against the wall? Do you have like a tried and true method that when like gets you winners or?
So my tried and true method is people would ask me, what comes first? Do you come up with the drink first and then pick a game to kind of like sync with that, or is it vice versa? Like, I want to make a drink for say Zelda. Like, okay, I need a Zelda drink, and then go that way, and it's a little bit of both. So it really depends on just how how the vibe comes. So it's about 50-50 which comes first for that. As for just kind of like creating like, the classic drinks, which again, if you're any bartender, you want to get really, really good at making those classic cocktails. Make a great Cosmo, make a great old fashioned, a great margarita. I have my way of doing those things. And again, I will teach somebody to make it to how I would make it and be like, this is what I do. If it's not to your taste, tweak it in any direction. Make it sweeter, make it more tart, make it more bitter, make it less bitter, whatever works for you. So I like to give a guideline of this is how I do it. I find this successful. People really seem to like this. What do you think?
Hmm.
What is your input and how would you tweak this around? Or do you like what it is? So,
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of the best way to do it, because if you start off like, I'm a big Manhattan guy, and if I do a twist on a Manhattan, I put it in front of you, and all you drink is margaritas, like, you're gonna hate it, even if it's a good
yeah,
cocktail, and
yeah,
there's just really no way for, like, you can't make a cocktail to please everyone unless it's a Long Island iced tea, and everyone just is pleased with that because they're drunk. So, like, yeah.
yeah. When a guest comes in and says, surprise me, I'm like, okay, let's talk. So give me an idea of what your go-to spirit is. What kind of profile are you looking for? You looking for something very spirit forward, sweet, not sweet? And I always get frustrated when someone says, oh, I like everything, because we know that's not true. So my go-to when someone says they like everything and they won't give me any specifics, I'll say, okay, so I'm gonna let you know a little secret. And the secret is this. I'm actually a superhero in disguise. And they'll be like, what? And I'll say, my superpower is finding the one thing that you don't like to drink. So give me something here. Do you like tequila? Do you like vodka? And if it's a vodka drinker, to get them to expand on something is a little challenging because they're usually those vodka soda splash of crayon people. And to get people to deviate from that is a little challenging. But if someone says they like gin or they like tequila, and it's like, okay, I have a lot I can work with here. But vodka drinkers, I try to give them something that's not vodka. Because again, like you've had your vodka soda, but like, let's try something here. Let's try this. And I'll have them try it and they'll be like, oh, it's really good. I'm like, you're drinking actually gin.
Yeah. No, gin is the gateway
Yeah.
drug to like classic mixology for vodka drinkers, because
Absolutely.
it is like a infused vodka. Like, that's what it is. If you tell people that,
Yeah.
you can sneak it in.
Gin was the first flavored vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's so true. Yeah, and I mean, looking through your kind of posts, I feel like you have a really good and fun take on the vodka soda splash of crayon crowd.
Yeah. You must have seen the one I did with GF brands.
I think so. Yeah.
The giant glass, the giant one. So yeah, it's the company's called GF brands, and they're literally called, their products are literally called Good Fucking Vodka, Good Fucking
Yes,
Wine.
that is
So
it. Yeah.
they're a blast to work with, because like I remember I sent them one that was like a simple cocktail video, and they were just kind of like, yeah, we're not liking the vibe. We've seen better stuff from you. Like, it's not funny, it's not this, not that. Like, and then I sent them the whole, the Good Fucking Vodka soda where I smack a bottle of Tito's out of the way, and they were like, that's the vibe we want. And I said, no problem.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
Yeah.
No,
It gives me a chance to be unprofessional and a little bit of a douchebag, and they like that. That's what they want for their brand. I said, no problem. So it's fun.
It's, I've got to admire Tito's. As much as I'm sure half the bar community hates them, what unbelievably great brand. Like, it was the smartest move at the smartest time for them to put gluten-free on that bottle. Like, they nailed it, and they did it at a time that they captured the zeitgeist so well. And now it's just, even last week, one of the waiters was asking the bartender what she should recommend to this one table. And he's like, maybe a Tito's and vodka. And she just didn't, didn't bat an eye, didn't hear it. So everyone's so used to hearing Tito's soda that it's just like, the people, you can always tell when they're drunk when they order that, first of all. But like,
Yep.
They did a great job. They captured some brain space.
Yeah,
but
for 25 years or so after they started, they people still think they're the only gluten-free spirit out there. And I'm like, no, they were the first ones to put it on the bottle. But here's a funny story. There was a restaurant in Salem, Massachusetts, and they got so tired of people ordering Tito's and vodka, they decided, you know what? They put it on their menu. So they said Tito's and vodka, and it says shot of Tito's with a shot of rail vodka, $250. If you think we're kidding, try us.
Yep.
So if you ordered that, they'd be like, yeah, it's in there. Here's your Tito's and vodka. It's what you asked for. They got so tired of it, just being like, enough. You want Tito's and vodka? Sure. $250.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing as if we started a whiskey company and said, like, no scorpions on the bottle. It's like, technically, you're right. Like, correct. I mean, you know, it's all branding. Good fucking vodka. Like, that's a pretty good name. GF Vodka.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also gluten free.
Also gluten free. For now. We might be adding some gluten.
Because all vodka is gluten free.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's a market that's underserved. Vodka infused with gluten. There's pasta vodka or something like that for Italians.
Hey, garlic bread. I think garlic bread vodka would sell very well. So
it would, like, stupidly and really depressingly well. I see on your feed a lot this barbecue chef guy. So who is he? I see.
Oh, Gary.
Yeah.
So Gary is somebody who I met through Instagram. Like he's got a huge. He started on TikTok. And he's got a huge following, like 2.6 million. And I can't remember if I commented on one of his things or he commented on one of mine. It was probably me commenting on him. And I said something to him and he laughed and like we started just kind of messaging back and forth. And I was like, you know, hey man, I'd really love to collab with you. Thinking like this guy's got millions of followers. He literally has his full-time income from social media and stuff. It's his own brand. I'm thinking there's no way this dude's going to want to give me the time of day. And he did. So I've only hung out with him once, and we're hanging out actually this Saturday, working an event together this Saturday. So, but the one day I hung out with him, and again, I had never met this dude in my life, but he invited me to his house to just make some content. We were gonna like, you know, smoke some meats. We were gonna make some drinks and shoot some videos.
For sure.
And I was gonna follow his. Yeah, I was gonna follow his lead and you know, just kind of see where it went. But again, like I met this dude off the internet. I've never met him in my life. I spent 12 and a half hours at his house. I got there like 10 o'clock in the morning. I left at 10:30 at night. I didn't want to leave. I had so much fun. He is such a kind person. He was so welcoming to me. He's absolutely hysterical. He's batshit fucking crazy. But that day was so much fun. We shot like he just posted the final video of our day, and it was like the 10th or 11th video that he posted with he and I together. And he was just so kind, so welcoming. He helped me out so much, and I've grown a bit since I got to work with him, and I'm really excited about the next opportunity. But yeah, we hung out at his house for 10 and a half hours. We shot videos, we made drinks, we smoked meat, we smoked a lot of weed, and just kind of just hung out. We had so much fun together. So he was a blast. This Saturday, I had reached out to him saying, "Hey, what are you doing this Saturday? I'm free if you want to like, you know, do something." And then he calls me and says, "Well, it's actually funny. I'm working this event, and do you want to come with me and work it with me?" Sure. Yeah, I'm not getting paid. It's a volunteer thing. Like, you know, it's gonna be a huge barbecue thing. Gonna smoke some meats and, you know, all this stuff's gonna be going around this huge festival. I'm gonna be there. Why don't you come down? I'm like, sure. So that's what we're doing Saturday.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna try and we're gonna live stream at least part of it. We're gonna make some mocktails. We can't serve booze there. We're trying to find a way to be subtle about it, but I don't want to get anybody in trouble, especially him. So yeah, we're gonna be making mocktails. I don't know the exact location we're gonna be in. So I know he lives in Rhode Island. I think we're going somewhere in like just north of there in Massachusetts. I live in Massachusetts anyway. So we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah. Smoke some meats, non-alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
Live stream everything that's legal. So yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
We're not putting any booze in it because like I don't want to get him in trouble, and you know, and I don't want to get anybody else in trouble. So
for sure, yeah. No,
I'll play by the rules.
Yeah. I have found, because I've only dealt with a couple other like really big accounts, and I found that the larger the account gets, it's either one of two ways. One, like they have no touch at all, and it's all handled by people, and it's like gatekeeper. And like you just don't get to the person. Or the other like huge accounts, it's like the nicest people that are very down to help. And it's like you never know what you're really gonna get, but it is always interesting to find like that one. Like perfect example, the guy that saw him at Guy Savoy. So he just like, there's no reason that he would ever need to talk to me or want to, but you know, he does the Instagram videos where he opens the wine with the meta glasses, and he was just like, yeah, I'll come tell my story. Heck yeah. And like, that was a blast, you know, and it's like he was great. He like a bunch of the people that listened to the show came through that, so it was awesome. Yeah. But.
Yeah, that's how Gary is. Like he's very inviting. Like I mean, I when I was first starting out, like I would have loved somebody who was in my current position to just like say, hey, let me help you. And he did it. Now, fortunately, I had already had a good amount of success at that point. So like I had right around, close to 300,000 on Instagram and right around like 60,000 on TikTok. But again, I've struggled on that platform, and just he was so inviting. He does everything himself. It's just like I said, that's his full time job. So I would have loved that to happen when I was first starting out. Better late than never. So if I can do it for somebody now, it's great. Like I share a lot of people's stuff. Like, hey, this is really good. Or if it's a friend of mine who's trying to get something going, I'll help them. I've had some people who do take advantage though, and that's part of the reason why some people are a little bit guarded. I didn't get that at first. Now I do. I had somebody who I'll still share their stuff once in a while, but they got greedy where all of a sudden, I'd share one video, like, oh, I'll share one of yours. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Sure. Yeah, it helped me get some followers and whatnot. And that was fine. But this one person would just reach out to me literally every single day. Can you share this? Can you share this? And I'm like, okay, here's my latest video. And I did it for a while, but after a while, I'm like, okay, is this helping either of us? Because his content's different. Well, not, he was another food influencer person. I hate that word, by the way, influencer. But I was like, okay, this can kind of work with my audience. And I'm watching the views kind of like, they're not getting a lot of views on my story. And like, I get a message so often, like, who is this person? Like, and I'd see my stuff doing okay, but he wasn't getting many followers from what I was doing. I'd literally put his, name up there and kind of help get his name out there. And he wasn't really growing much. So I'm like, is this helping? Like, I mean, I'd love to help you and do more, but like, I really, this doesn't seem to be working. To me, it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it is broke, let's fix it together. And yeah, so I've had people take advantage of me for stuff like that. But other ones, like I have some local friends who just they want to just get their stuff out there, and I'm happy to help them, and they don't take advantage. Like we're actually legitimate friends. They'll say like, "Hey man, really appreciate you could help me." Like, yeah, absolutely. Like a couple friends of mine, they're bartenders in my town. They just bought an ice cream shop. They just want to have their own business. They still want to bartend, work at the restaurant they work at. They're very successful there, but they want to do their own thing. And I would just say, like, listen, if you've got something going on at your ice cream shop, please send it to me. Like, just let me get it out there for you. And it's helped them. So the business has been slowly growing. They've been open for a couple months now, and they've actually had some really good numbers because of it. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
I'm not taking all the credit. They've worked their butts off, but
sure.
I'm not taking.
Yeah, you're not churning the ice cream or anything like that.
No. Like, but I'm happy to help people who just, because it does come back to you. If people aren't taking advantage of you for stuff like that, and they can see it's generally helping them, it's good to help people.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of a tightrope to walk, because if you don't ask, you don't get. And like, there's nothing bad about asking for a favor, but it does sound like that person was persistent, like going beyond. And it's hard to see what that line is, but there is a line. And like, we all know it too.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not thinking like, oh no, I'm bringing an equal amount to this. Like, Yeah. Which might be why the content wasn't working too. People pick up on that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, when they're seeing it like every day, it's like, okay, who is this person? Like, is this like a really good friend of his? Is this like a girl he's dating? Like, and it's like, no, it's just, I'm just trying to help people. So, but there's been people who've taken advantage of it. So that's why a lot of times, like, you'll see the bigger people with bigger followings to be like, to not want to engage those people, and I didn't understand that until recently, so now I do. But still, I want to help people. Like I said, if somebody who had the following I had, like when I first started out, was willing to help me, I would definitely like appreciate it. But again, I would be like, I want to be respectful of that person's time. So at the end of the day, they're helping me more than I'm helping them. So like I said, Gary's done so much for me, so I share his stuff, and my audience loves him. So like I have people come into work go like, who is that crazy motherfucker with the beard?
Giving shots of my lord to, I'm guessing that's his wife or girlfriend.
That is, so that's his not wife. So it's his wife's best friend who's always over their house. So she's, I can't remember her name, but like her reaction video, like we had a funny one, but hers was hysterical. Like she literally ended the video with like, "You hurt me."
It's like someone threw up, put it back in my mouth, and smoked some cigarettes. It's like, which pretty good tasting descriptor.
When we did the shot, Gary and I, like, He ran to his fridge and grabbed like a bottle of grape juice. And so he just chugs the grape juice, hands it to me. I'm like, I just met you 4 hours ago, but we're drinking out of the same canister now. So you take it to kind of chase that feeling away. As soon as you swallow that grape juice, the taste of the Malort somehow came back in your mouth. It was really, I'm like, this is horrible. So, and I'd had it before, but God, I forgot how bad it is. So yeah, he likes finding like some of the funnier stuff we did was basically, I had him try this terp infused vodka, which is basically like a cannabis smelling and tasting vodka, and that video got a lot of reaction to it too. But that's a company called Iviente. I've worked with them for almost 2 years now, I think, maybe even longer. And they're one of the first liquor brands that actually reached out to me and like actually said, hey, we want to give you a shot, and they've been very good to me. So
Awesome.
that was that might have been the first one that actually reached out to me directly. So, and I thought the product was really cool. Like, it's like, oh, it's a weed infused vodka. There's no THC in the bottle.
That was
It's literally,
my next question. So good.
yeah, where is it? Like, literally, hold on, it's right here. It's I mean, the bottle is literally a giant joint. So it's
Mm.
so
Something that could never be on our back bar. No way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there is no THC in it. So so doing we did that. We did Malort, and I found some other weird sounding liquor that I saw in a store. I'm like, I got to get this with Gary, because like we got to film this and see what happens. So, but I love doing collabs with that. I just did one with my friend Tony recently with a ready to drink espresso martini that's a bourbon base. So that's going to be coming out really soon. Hoping to get that out this week. I'm doing something with a friend of mine about tequila. So I like doing that. So just get because again, to keep things refreshing, like, okay, why did he bring this person on, and kind of see the personality. And Tony's a guy I've been friends with for over 25 years. He's a huge hype man for me, one of the biggest supporters. And I was like, you want to be in a video? He's like, yeah, sure. I don't know what to do, but like, well, I knew that he liked espresso martinis, so I thought, you know what, this might be your vibe. So I'll get an honest review out of you. So,
Yeah,
and
good
we
or,
had some
good or
fun, we had
bad.
fun
Yeah.
shooting. Yeah, yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, that is cool. Like, I can only imagine, because it seems like a lot of the stuff you do is kind of done solo. Like, that is the good thing about doing a podcast where you're talking to someone most of the time, is like, there are long stretches where I'm just like me alone grinding through, like looking at files, editing the files. Like if I did that without anyone else, I don't know if I'd continue to do that, because it's just like, how many hours can I spend in my room alone? But
a lot.
you can, yes, and I think the younger generation is telling us that there is no upward limit. But I don't know. I like, after I talk to someone, even though I know that I have to edit it, have to do all the things afterwards, it still is some human contact. Like, I can only imagine, like, you need someone. Like, we're human beings, we're social creatures, so it like makes it easier if you got someone there. Yeah. I also
The editing. And I don't have a background in video and editing and stuff like that. So basically, everything I do, like, I'm a one man show. I shoot everything in my basement. So it's like if you saw the rest of the room that the bar is in, you'd be like, what the hell? It is kind of like, it's like literally like, it's my basement. Like the bar I use is actually full. It actually folds up. So but I've learned by doing. So it's a one man show over here.
oh yeah, no, I mean, I'm right now looking, and like, I've got a desk in the middle of the room, and like behind this is chaos, but it looks reasonable this way, so it works out.
Yeah, I've got boxes of booze surrounding the bar, and just from different companies. Like I got a whole box of stuff from Privateer Distillery. They're a rum distillery in Ipswich, Massachusetts. I've worked with this company called Tipsy. They're a liquor distributor. I got a whole box of their products over there. I got stuff from Tumbleroot over here. GF Brands is over here, and just
Everywhere.
it's kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
like what you see is like somewhat organized. I mean, granted, I have Rob the Robot over there and a Ninja over here, so that's actually a Japanese whiskey bottle right there. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah, the whiskey's long gone, but the bottle still remains. So I think the bottle's cool as shit. Just having a ninja like just crouching, grabbing his sword. The whiskey was good, it just didn't last long.
Yeah, I mean,
It
that's
was
the
too
problem.
good.
Most bottles have a hole in the top, so there's not much you can do. What if you could go back to yourself when you started this? Is there anything that happened or anything that's you've done that surprised you? Like, oh man, I wish I'd known XYZ at the beginning.
Yes, it's hard to put into words because like I'll watch like older videos and I'll just be like, this is not good. Like either the camera sucked or something was off. So and what I do is, I mean, no one's going through my feed and looking back to 2022 or 2021 to what I did, but every
Unless they're
so
like a
often I
freak.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do that to kind of just see like where I've come from, and I'll be like, okay, this was a good idea, but the execution was not so good. So let's reshoot the drink. So the very first video game cocktail I ever put out was called the Metroid Martini.
Sick.
And I love it's a great idea. It's what gave me the idea to start doing like video game inspired drinks. But I'm like, okay, the video when I first shot it, I'm literally shooting it at work. I'm in my work shirt. I still got my like COVID mask on. I'm just standing there making the drink. There's music from Metroid playing. There's a little Metroid thing floating over here, but I'm literally just making the drink. There's nothing exciting about it. So I've reshot it a couple times and re-edited a few times, and it's gotten better each time because like you learn shit by just doing it over again. To be like, okay, I got my foot in the door with this, but I can do better, especially by because you learn by doing. I mean, if you're not learning by doing and you're not growing, then you're gonna be stuck.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This will be fast, I promise. Please take a moment and leave a comment on the show. It really would mean the world to me. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what we're doing well and what we could improve on. I'd love to hear from you all. All right, back at it. Yeah, no, I mean, if I go back and I have listened to portions, I can't make myself listen to full amount. The first 5 podcasts I put out, like, my toes curl. I'm like, oh my God. But, the thing I told myself at the beginning, and I think it's true, is like, a lot of people don't get one. One is its self-accomplishment. Just like, okay, I'm going to put something out there and see what happens. And of the people that get one, not many get past 10. But I kept trying and I kept learning and I kept failing in new and spectacular ways. But, now I have kind of workflow and now I have kind of systems and now I have a cadence and it's not any easier, but now I know the things not to do. So you learn by doing, you really do.
That shows your growth, Andrew. That shows that like you learn by doing, you've learned from mistakes you've made, you've learned from success, you've learned from failure. And that's how you grow. And that shows that what you do is improving. And when it improves, you're gonna get a bigger audience.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing that people say too is like, if you are not embarrassed by your product at the beginning, you probably waited too long. That's Silicon Valley, but still, I stand by that.
I get that. I get that.
What do you got in store for the future? Do you have big plans for the Gaming Mixologist? Are you going to go full time? Like,
I would love to go full time. It's just not possible right now. So I just don't have the. I mean, what's been good is that I've the last 6 months or so I started working with a lot of like different liquor brands and spirit brands to have additional income working for them. Like I mentioned, GF brands already. Tipsy, Suburban Life has been a really fun one. They make the ready to drink bourbon cocktails. Who else? And Barsis. So I've been getting side income from that. I would love to be able to do it full time and bartend less. That's been what the goal's been. So I'm at a point now where I can bartend behind an actual bar less and still be okay. But I'm not that point where I could just go full time with it. So I'm hoping that would happen one day. I've always wanted to publish a book of the video game inspired drinks, but I keep running into an obstacle of how do I do that when every single drink is based on a video game or a character and more importantly, an intellectual property that I don't own the rights to?
not
Like,
just one or
is
two,
there
every single one. Yeah.
everyone? Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So I'm not going to post a last word drink or or my old fashioned recipes. Like that's not really what the gimmick is. So I'm sure there's verbiage and legalese I can use in written form to get around that and be able to put the book out there, but I just haven't found what that is, and I don't really know who to talk to with that. I've reached out and asked things here and there, but I don't want to find like some sort of a shyster who's just going to take advantage of me and stuff like that. Because I don't want to put a book out where it's got all this stuff in here, and all of a sudden I'm getting cease and desist letters from Nintendo and Sega or whoever else, and be like, "Yeah, we're going to see you in court if you don't pull this thing." So I don't want to put that work in unless I know, like, okay, there is a way to do this legally. There is a way to put it out there. That's been a goal from the beginning, and unfortunately, 4+ years later, I'm still struggling with that. Otherwise, I like to do like some guest spots here and there. I did a guest spot at a bar in Gloucester, Mass, which is where I live recently. People came out to see me for that, and yeah, so just to kind of just get the name out there, and as long as it's still fun, when it's not fun anymore, and it's like It's like I hate doing this. I'm not making any money. I'm wasting my time, and it's like it's not the creative outlet it once was. Then it'll be time to move on to something else. But it's still fun. I've got merch out there that people have gotten into, and shot glasses I sell too. So it's been the names out there, and people are enjoying it. So I mean, everybody has their supporters and their haters, and
If
it's been overall it's okay.
Yeah, if you're on the internet, you'll have supporters and haters, and I've always heard that people will be mad at you for what you do, but they'll also be mad at you for what you don't do. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Might as well try to do something
Yeah,
you want to do, you know?
yeah.
I wonder too, that is super cool about the drinks. Like, what does fall under fair use, and what would be like copyright infringement, trademark infringement?
Yeah.
You might.
Yeah, I mean, it would obviously be inspired by Pikachu or Pokemon or available on Nintendo, whatever, like stuff like that. So like I know I'm sure there's a legal way around it. I
Mm,
just don't know what that is.
yeah. You might have to just like approach Nintendo and be like, would you like to partner on this book? Something like that. Yeah.
That would be insane. I don't see them giving me the time of day, but you
No.
never know. So I mean, maybe they
Who
get to like a
knows?
million followers. I'll give it a shot and see like what happens there. But
Yeah, right. Make
then
your
I'm sure
games cool for a new audience, you know?
Yeah. Well, Nintendo likes to go after people. So like people have been waiting for, remakes of like older games. So people will do fan versions using like an Unreal Engine of this game or that, usually a Zelda game from like, I saw one that was like the newest Unreal Engine you doing Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and they put it on the internet and whatnot. And Nintendo was like, "Yep, take it down." So crap. Andrew, you there? That's not good. Okay. Uh-oh. There we go. Yeah. Sorry about that, man. Yeah.
No, no, no. That's Nintendo in real time. Actually censoring you,
Nintendo
so
shut
it's
me
like,
down. Nintendo shut
yeah,
me down.
the second you disappeared, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, man, that is fast.
I told you they work quick.
Yeah, they work. I mean, it's like if you were going to write a book inspired by Disney character drinks. Like Disney's
Oh, yeah.
notorious for like you accidentally like say the word Cinderella. It's like, oh, Lion King, get out of here.
Yep.
There you go, Simba. That's the collab you need.
Yeah. Disney owns enough stuff as it is. So, and they've been ruining. They ruined Star Wars and among other things. So, but that's a whole conversation for another day. So.
Awesome. We've covered a bit of ground here. Is there anything else that, we maybe missed? Something that someone at home who's thinking like, maybe I've got that in me too. Maybe I can try something new, interesting, fun, like anything in your path that you'd want to let people know about, good or bad?
Just don't be afraid to fail. Like people are gonna comment on stuff about that might be negative comments, and it might make you feel bad for this or that. I mean, one piece of advice I got from a person with a very big following on YouTube and on social media too, but more YouTube than anything else was, I said I had asked him like, how do you deal with just negativity online? And like, because I mean, like I said, this person's been doing this for a very long time. And like, how do you deal with negativity? You're saying that, your older videos are better than your newer ones or this or that. Like, how do you deal with it? And literally just said one thing that is very easy to do, but tough in execution. Don't read the comments. Just literally don't read the
For
comments
sure.
because like it's hard not to, because you want some feedback. I'm like, hey, am I doing okay? Am I not doing okay? But like some of those things are really fucking cruel because everybody's tough like over a computer screen or over in front of a keyboard or when you're just tapping with your thumbs. It's things you wouldn't say to somebody's face because you might get punched out, but over the internet and social media that's not the case. So he would always say just don't read the comments. Like they're talking about you, it's going to help the engagement, whether they say something good or bad. Don't read the comments. It's tough when you read like a bunch of negative things. I've had videos that did terrible. I've had countless. I've been called every name in the book. I've been called cringy. I've been called. He gives off like creepy vibes or this kind of weird vibes. So I've been called this or that. Like it's like it's a long list. I won't go all the names. I don't want to. There's a lot of bad stuff there, but and some are also contradictory, which is really weird. So in the same post, like it was like I was called basically both a negative slur from both major political parties in the same post, and I was like, how does that work? So
Yes.
it
I guess
was
I don't
really
fit in
I'm like,
anywhere. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, how does that work? And I don't do political stuff at all. That's not my forte. So I don't. I stay out of that stuff. So
Yeah. No, that is great advice. I still do read the comments because I do try to respond to pretty much everything. I'm still at that stage. And, I like to build engagement. I've met some cool people doing that. I don't respond to the truly hateful ones, like the ones that have no point. I'm just like, okay, yeah,
yeah.
like who cares?
I'll
I
just
have
block.
found
I'll just block. I'll just block some of those people. You
same.
know, like I posted what I shot a drink yesterday, which is one of my more challenging ones. I did this like rainbow Long Island iced tea for Pride Month, and I had somebody who commented on it and he says, I mean. I'm a supporter. That's all. I'm a supporter of people just living their life the way it makes sense for them. And they were saying just some really nasty stuff. I'm like, I'm not going to respond to this. Just block. Get out of here. I'm not going to deal with you. So
Yeah,
just rude,
yeah. No,
people.
I
You
mean,
can't you can't stop people from being assholes. So just like I'm not going to engage with this stuff. Like block, comment deleted. See you later.
exactly. Yeah, and I mean, I will say the ones that aren't truly hateful, but just kind of negative. I even had one where I had a video. It was just short, and it was like a very pithy thing about how to make drinks. And of course, there's nuance. Like anytime you make drinks, like there's another counterexample. Everything alcohol related has 1,000 counterexamples. And so they said something along those lines, and I was like, I actually agree with what you say, but you have to remember that this is a short form video. Like I don't have the time to go into the nuance of a 10-minute discussion of flavor. It's just like we're talking about basics, how to put together drinks here. Like this is for like beginners. And it actually turned into a good conversation. I ended up like chatting with the guy. He was cool. He runs a bar out in like the Pacific Northwest. And it's like cool, like he just made a comment without thinking that probably I'd read it ever. And I was just like, yeah, no, like I agree with you. It's a 1-minute video. What are you gonna do? Like yeah. And I also get all the like, this guy sucks, blah blah blah. It's like okay, delete.
I get those too.
Who cares?
Get those too.
Yeah, I think the problem is we have such a negativity bias that as videos get bigger and bigger, like the ones that get a lot will necessarily get more, and because you remember them more, you just remember the more negative. Even if like you like scale it up and you still got the like 200 positive comments, those 5 bad ones, you're just like, yeah, but
You can make a comment saying like I don't agree with this, or I would do it this way, or say something negative about the video. That's fine. When you just go out and you start insulting me or insulting people, just leave. Scroll on.
yeah, scroll on. There you go.
Yeah.
The last couple of questions, these are selfish questions. First question, where do you get your ties? Because I want that Pac-Man tie that I see from you.
Etsy. I went
Etsy?
to, I went,
Okay.
yeah, because when I had the idea for, because I would usually just like back in the older days when I started, I would just like wear some sort of like video game or nerd shirt and make the drink. But I thought like, what if I'm gonna go by Gaming Mixologist, which I have a love hate with the name Mixologist. The reason why I did a little side, the reason why I went with Gaming Mixologist, I was gonna do either that or Gaming Bartender. I had found a couple different people online that went by Gaming Bartender, or that was like their screen name or whatever. So I'm like, okay, found some on Google, found some on TikTok and Instagram, but let's put in Gaming Mixologist. And there was nothing on Google, nothing on anywhere. So I'm like, okay, let's do that. So do I consider myself more of a mixologist or a bartender? The answer is bartender. It's just an online name to kind of make sure that like when you go check when you search for it, you just find one person, me. But what was your question again? One more time.
But yeah, where do you get your ties?
Yeah, so I thought about like okay, so what's the presentation going to be? So I at the time I was working in a place where the attire was black pants, black dress shirts, and then you'd have the logo of the restaurant on your chest, on your chest. And I thought, okay, what if I did a plain black shirt, but to show nerdiness? What if I found like a nerdy kind of tie? And so I did a search for like, video game ties, and I found a few of them, but they were all on Etsy. So I need to get some new ones. So I've got the Pac-Man one. I've got the NES controller. I have one of Mario and Luigi, one of just like the Goombas from Mario. I have a Zelda one. I have a Punch Out one. Dr. Mario, and I think I have one more, but I can't see what it is. So, but yeah, so it was either from Etsy. I think I might have found one or two on Amazon, but Etsy was the main one because like it's not a big market for it. So, but that's where I got them from.
Well, funny enough, you should probably ask those folks how they get around using those likenesses for your book, because they've somehow managed to do it. Yeah. I was going to ask you to, and you can leave it vague, or if you can't get into the details, that's fine too. But kind of what is the process of having someone approach you, like a liquor company, to work with you? Do you have like a set pipeline? Do they, like, how does that end up working usually?
Usually it's me reaching out to them. I
Okay.
will see if there's some way they want like some social media promotion. I'm not a bot. I'm not an AI. I'm a real person. If you say no, it's cool. Like it's, and I'll send them stuff that I've done with other companies and see like, do you like this? Is something you would be into with your brand? I've had a few reach out to me, and fortunately, one of the ones that's really helped me is this company Tipsy, who is a liquor distributor. They don't have their own products. They basically, they have some for like their own merch, but they help a lot of smaller brands get their names out. So I've built relations with other companies within that umbrella. So that's been cool. Like I said, Suburban Life was one of those, and I got a couple others. But other ones that was usually me reaching out. Ivienta reached out to me, and I've had a couple other ones, and so they're like, "Hey, we really like what you do. Could you do something with our product? It doesn't need to be gaming related, but if it is, that's cool. If it's not, that's okay too." So my approach, like I have like a general kind of like email I might send, but it's almost like cold calling, which I hate cold calling. I try to I try to like engage with like a company's content first, so they're like, okay, this guy's engaged our stuff. Let's check him out. Oh, okay, he's done this stuff with other brands. Maybe we can work something out together.
You're a
Because
real human being. Yes.
yeah, if you ever worked a sales job before, like cold calling is a very awkward and just it's not very successful either. But again, a lot of people need to hustle to try to get clients that way. But
Yeah, I
I don't
mean,
personally like yeah I don't personally like doing that. But I'd love to work with more companies too if they're out there. So
yeah, that is the thing with cold calling, though. It doesn't work that well, but it works. Works just well enough that everyone keeps doing it. Which, stop giving money to the people that answer, like, knock on your doors, please. Everyone out there, just, if we stop giving them money, they'll stop coming back. It's like feeding a stray cat. Just like, but, yeah. It says all the way down the hall, but,
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Someone who's listening to this,
I have a pit
first.
bull I have a pit bull myself, so she's 12 and a half, so her bark's not that loud anymore, but but back in the day when she was younger, like if she barked, if you didn't know her, you'd be like, "Oh my god, dog sounds scary." And she's the sweetest, dumbest, girl ever. So she's the best. Her name's Zelda, of course it is.
Hell yeah. I've got Zeus. And
Nice.
it's the same thing. He is 150 pounds. So when he barks, and like runs at you, it looks terrifying. But I'm like,
Oh yeah.
This motherfucker is afraid of the cats. Like, you have nothing to fear. He sits in my lap. He's a little baby. Someone who's listening at home, where could they go to find out more about you and what you do and follow you and everything like that?
You can search on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for the Gaming Mixologist. You can Google me as well. I'm on there. Just do Gaming Mixologist. If you do Gaming Mixologist Frankie Francis, you'll find everything there as well. I have an all my links page on my Instagram where you could find merch. So t-shirts, shot glasses, other bar merch will be there. That's pretty much everything.
Awesome. Yeah, and if you're listening to this and in a car, couldn't write that down, all of those links will be in the show notes just to make sure you have an easy one click over to follow what he does and figure out why he hates Tito so much. So
Get that. It's yes. Let me say this one thing. I don't hate Tito's that much. It's their fan club that bothers me. They're a little snooty and a little one dimensional.
100.
Yeah.
I joke about that. I actually won Tito's most imaginative bartender in New Mexico when I lived there. So like,
wow, nice.
Yeah, I have a long storied history. I bought 4 cases of Tito's when I placed the order yesterday. So I poke fun at them, but they are definitely the highest moving and they definitely pay my bills. So just like keep making more vodka Tito's. I'll sell it all day. Yeah, Frankie, thanks for coming on today.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I cut you off there. Yeah,
I mean they're the number one. If they're not the number one spirit in America, they've got to be up there. So I can't. I mean, maybe Jack Daniel's more, but I don't see anybody outselling Tito's. At least not anytime, especially not anytime soon.
No, yeah, they hit the market. They hit it in the perfect time with the product, right branding. Like they nailed it. They're like to even be thinking that it might be as big as Jack Daniel's is insane because Jack Daniel's has slowly grown over the years and they just started out of nothing. Yeah, no, Frankie, thanks for coming on today. It was a pleasure to meet you and it was fun looking through some of your stuff and getting a laugh at some of the things you do.
I appreciate having me, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. That is today's episode. Now, if you have not taken a moment to check out our website, please do. It's servesyouRightPod.com. We have past episodes and all sorts of other things there. If you want to get in touch with me, that's the place to do it. I do appreciate that you've given me your most valuable asset, your time and attention. So thank you for listening, and stay tuned. We have some really cool guests coming up. I would hate it if you missed it. Cheers.